Out of the shadows, you emerge from the Universal Brotherhood chapter house, momentarily blinded by the bright lights of the Lone Star perimeter surrounding the exit. Despite the clean night air, the stench of ichor and decay clings to you, a smell that may never fully go away. You drop your Aegis-filled shotgun and it's quickly spirited away by one of Telestrian's minions. Weapons are slowly lowered as you step out into the street. The order is coming from Detective McCluskey himself. You can see James Telestrian just nearby, pulling his strings. It's over. Jessica Watts has been dealt with and Sam has his justice. The dead man's deed is done. All you need now is to make a phone call, and it ends. Welcome back, class. I'm your guide Matt here on Y Caliber, and we're playing Shadowrun Returns. I don't know how much more is left in the game, but let's go chat with James Telestrian III. And after we broke up the ritual, Bodo chased Jessica into a small chamber where she was cornered by a couple of buggers. Guess they weren't impressed with her performance. They were about to eat her. And Bodo says something like, "I won't let them eat you, Jessica. You're coming with me. You're going to pay for what you've done." It was very dramatic. Then we splattered the bugs and handed her over to the UCAS FBI. They're going to want to have a long talk with her about the Universal Brotherhood. So this nest is cleaned out and your cousin Lynn is being transported to a mental hospital for observation.
Very clean. I believe our test of Project Aegis was a success, Bodo. Herb Brockhouse is having it weaponized now for distribution to Knight Errant forces. The authorities are going to have a great many questions about this incident, and I will need to provide details. The Universal Brotherhood has a great many chapter houses, and they must be dealt with immediately. Yes, we should discuss you. Regardless of your obvious flaws, you have done a great service to the world and are deserving of a reward. What would you ask of me?
New VP of Security. Why not?
Unfortunately, a dwarf is not an appropriate fit for Telestrian Industries Corporation executive. I'm sure you understand. However, I believe whoever fills the position will benefit from an executive consultant of your caliber. The position may pay quite handsomely, I assure you. Report to work on Monday. Just wear something more appropriate. Good day.
So I should have, like... Where's my 1.5 million? Oh well. Guess that's it, huh? You captured Sam's killer and now I'll get his justice. What will you do with the money? You don't seem like the type. Well, I'm gonna go grab Paco, head back to the Union, maybe watch a Tri-D or something. I'd use a long shower too. After that... Someday, maybe. And the rest of my body is made of metal too. But not today. Today I run the shadows, get paid, get dirty. See you around, Bodo. You're quite a guy. I can honestly say I've never met a dwarf quite like you. Well, she's off. Oh, Dresden's here. And Jake Armitage. Everyone's here. The whole gang. Well, kid, it's been fun, but I've seen everything I care to see today. I'm gonna get out of here. A friend. Until I need you for something. Then I'm a bastard. Look around. Note the members of the press being shuffled away by the Universal Brotherhood spokespeople to get a private briefing. The Brotherhood is connected. A damage control team is probably on the way right now. One way or another, they will. If they can't be manipulated, coerced, or bribed, they'll probably disappear. Quietly. There's more, though. Note the expression on the UCAS FBI agent speaking to Telestrian? Dismissive, isn't it? That's because there's no love lost between the UCAS and Tirtangir. They're not going to trust what he's telling them, and frankly, I have no idea what he's telling them. James plays his own game. Always has. Well, there's an economic incentive for one, power for another. If there was an outbreak of bugs in a major city and this company had the only product capable of combating it, you think it might give him some sort of edge? I'm not saying he'd do that, but I am saying his field test results were quite compelling. Let me show you one more. That guy there? He's with Ares Macro Technology. Enormous megacorp, ridiculously powerful. They've been sniffing around Project Aegis for quite a while now. Clearly they have an agenda that's just starting to unfold. Government, media, business, all working to ensure the truth stays hidden. Me either. In a way, it's worse. It's a series of conspiracies, conflicting agendas and petty jealousies, all building upon, feeding upon, and excreting into an unending web of dreck that people wade through every day and call it life. there was one Dark Lord controlling everything and we could drive a magical sword through his heart and free the world? That'd be grand. Such clarity, such focus. Alas. Just the opposite, schmuck. The lesson is this. The game is rigged, the cards are stacked, the dice are loaded. It's the same as it always was. Every cycle. People in power exert power. Little people cower in their homes, think that what they're being told, and buy whatever product will help them forget how horrible their lives are for another day. And that's why we don't play their fraggin' game. We don't swallow their dreck sandwich and politely ask for another. That's why we run the shadows. That's where real life is, kiddo. Reality is living in the places no one wants you to see. He flew back to Berlin, all sorts of things brewing there. He was very impressed with you, though. He could probably turn into work someday. But I'd forget about him if I were you. Never make a deal with a dragon kid. They're playing a different game entirely. And Harlequin's off. Let's chat with McCluskey. What are you looking at, Tube? Catharsis. I heard the Universal Brotherhood was getting shot up on the police scanner. Knew it had to be you. Did you get her? Not for a minute. Guess that concludes the story of Bodo and the Dead Man's Switch, huh? You know, I've been thinking. Maybe you should stay in Seattle a while. Plenty of ways folks like us can get into trouble here. You only skimmed the surface. I heard Mitsuhama's looking for a team, and they specifically want dwarves. No idea what that's about. And I just got word that something's going on at Crater Lake. The Tiers got it on total lockdown. No fly zone, the whole thing. There could be something in it for us if you want to poke around. And there's always the Orc Underground. Haven't seen that yet, have you? I got plenty of friends there who are good for a job. Something's bound to come up. What do you say? You do that. If you want to find me, I'll be at McCracken's later. Got a taste for some seafood. Take it easy, chummer. And Dresden. Hey, Bodo! I was wondering if I was going to see you again. I guess I shouldn't be surprised to find you here. Busy! You know it's all over the Trivid, right? They found the Emerald City Ripper dead at some asylum out in Snohomish, of all places. Turns out he'd been masquerading as the head administrator or something. They found him dead from some sort of vigilante attack. You wouldn't know anything about that, would you? That's what I thought. Well, no one can say he didn't have it coming, am I right? That was a double negative. So the big question, what about the Dead Man's Switch? Now that the Ripper's dead, are you going to collect? Forgot? Come on, how do you collect? Lone Star's emergency response team set up a secure phone line right here to coordinate their efforts. I can authorize you to use it. Don't mention it. Take care, Bodo. The phone before you has a simple numerical keypad. You can use it. Keypad. You can use it to call Sam's law firm and cash in on the Dead Man's Switch. You tap in the phone number and Sam's lawyer gave you days ago. The phone rings 7 times before someone finally answers. The image of the lawyer on the other end of the video phone is noticeably different from the one you saw a few days ago. The noise in the background sounds like it's coming from a bar. Yeah? Oh, it's you, Bodo, right? So you got Sam's killer, right? Sure, of course you do. Hang on, let me slot Sam's video for you. Of course, he doesn't have the money. Hey, buddy, looking good, looking good. If you're calling this money, that means the job is done. Congratulations, amigo. I knew you'd do it. You were always the dependable one. More than me, anyway. I just want to say thank you for whatever you did. It means a lot. Not even knowing what you did, it still means a lot, because I know you did something. You know what I mean? I know you made it right, somehow. You're the only one who ever tried to help me, ever. Except my sister. She tried. More than once, she tried. I never let her, though. I never let her in. I regret that. A lot. Did I ever tell you about her, buddy? We're twins. We're twins, I guess. You still a twin after one of you dies? I don't know. Doesn't matter, I guess. God, listen to me. Do me one more favor, will you? If you talk to her name is Jessica. Tell her I'm sorry, okay? For everything. She'll know what for. She's Catholic, so she'll forgive me. I need her to forgive me. Just tell her I love her. Anyway, you need to get paid, which would be great except for one thing. I got nothing. Never did. You know how it is, right? Sorry, but hey, thanks again for giving a crap. Seriously, I appreciate it. And the award for least surprised Let's Player goes to me, Matt. Tell you what, if you feel sorry about it, look into my family background a bit. There's gotta be people with money in there somewhere. Maybe one of them can throw you a few bucks. Take care, amigo. See you in hell. So, what'd he say? Thank you. He just said thank you. The Emerald City Ripper killings are sensationalized for several weeks. Lurid reports focus on the killer masquerading as the administrator of Mercy Mental Hospital. Soon after, pop singer Maria Mercurial is cast as the lead in Dr. Ripper, a tri-bid thriller about a reporter who goes undercover as a mental patient to uncover a serial killer. Seattle Newsnet reports a shootout at a chapter house of the Universal Brotherhood. Witnesses claim that a gang of religious fanatics stormed the building for unknown reasons, but committed suicide before they could be captured. All mention of insect spirits, James Celestine III, or Shadowrunners are kept out of the news. 1 year later, the city of Chicago declares a quarantine area between Lake Michigan and the Des Plaines River. Officially, the Chicago Containment Zone is established to fight an outbreak of an infectious virus, but an infestation of insect spirits is suspected by those who know. A mature form of Project Aegis, called Fabs 3, is eventually deployed to remove the bug threat from Chicago. The Watts family name has since been lost to the shadows. Well, that was Shadowrun Returns, at least the main campaign. There are a couple of modules that I've already downloaded. I'm planning to try those out as well. Overall, I had a lot of fun. There were some parts that were total bullshit, but you were there for them, so you saw how I lived through it. I'm not sure a rigger is the best, most optimal choice because you sort of lose AP, but once you get up to higher levels of drone control and your drones have more AP than you, that's kind of cool. Like my Class S drone there, the one we had at the end, the Guardian, was pretty effective. Didn't use it in that final fight there because I was using it as a distraction, and because I needed all the AP I could get on Boto with his Aegis launcher, so that we could make sure that those bugs stayed down. I really wish it had a better save system. I know that it's easier to code a save system that just starts at the beginning of an area, but some of those areas were really long. And I'm not the kind of guy who can sit down and play a game for 6 hours most of the time. So a sort of save anywhere system would have been nice. You know, people have to run, they have to get things done. And seeing as the game doesn't run properly in windowed mode, flipping back and forth through full screen and the music keeps playing all the time, it's very distracting and annoying. Oh, there's El Duce. He was one of the guys that we used. So yeah, a save anywhere system would have been really nice, or at least more checkpoints. I think I'd approve of that. I mean, the average age of gamers these days is 30. Back in the day when we were playing Nintendo and Genesis, and checkpoints were widely spaced to make the games more difficult, that was okay because we were kids. We didn't, have important stuff coming up in our lives. And I think that's something that a lot of these retro design games miss. The average gamer now is 20 more years older than the average gamer was back when, 8-bit games and 16-bit games had their heyday. A 30-year-old or someone older than 30 or even someone in their 20s doesn't have this kind of time. But then again, I guess the economy is shit, so maybe lots of people have that kind of time. I don't know. Do they have that kind of time? Maybe they don't have that kind of money. Whatever. So that's one of my main issues with retro game design. Retro game design is fine, but, you have to keep in mind that your target audience is older now. We don't have the luxury of devoting our entire lives to gaming, as much as we might like to. You may agree with that or disagree, that's my opinion on it. So, I got frustrated with the game a couple of times, but overall, I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty well programmed, only a few small bugs. That not being able to get health kits before the last battle was difficult, but we managed to get through it without anyone dying. And the Matrix combat, I don't like it. I've already explained that to you. You get one guy and you're constantly being mobbed. It's too difficult unless you're playing a dedicated decker and you've got yourself set up in that way. And with the alert levels is... no, pain in the ass. Don't like the Matrix combat. Think that could do with an overhaul. The campaign, lots of people are throwing around the word linear. Don't really care. A lot of the best old games are linear. In fact, if you're talking about retro game design, most retro games are linear. And there's nothing wrong with that. They've got a story to tell, and they tell that story the way they want to. It's the same kind of argument people had with Bioshock Infinite. Oh, this game is so linear. Well, yeah, it's a game telling a specific story. It's telling one story really, really well, instead of telling 2 or 3 stories in a suboptimal way, like a lot of these open-world, non-linear games do. Oh, you can get 3 slightly different endings, but the rest of the story suffers as a result. I'm fine with linear as long as it's well done. This wasn't the best story ever written. It was pretty predictable, formulaic, but seeing as it was based on something from Shadowrun lore, I appreciated that. What I'm really looking forward to is seeing what the community is going to come up with. There's a Super Nintendo Shadowrun module remake that's being done. It's currently in alpha. I'm going to try that out, I think, shortly. But, there's a couple of other things that I saw in the marketplace as well. I'm going to check those out and see if they're worth recording. That's always the trouble with amateur material. Sometimes it's really good, sometimes it's not so great. We'll see how these go. We'll try them out at some point. So Shadowrun returns. I think it was more of a success than Legends of Dawn, which is still a hot mess, even all these patches later. And yes, I have tried it with all the new patches. I still don't think it's a very good game. Lots of cool ideas. Shitty execution. Don't know where all the money went, though really it wasn't that much money. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. We're talking about Shadowrun Returns, Kickstarter success story. That's what I'd call this. The game is completed, it came out, it's playable, it's fun, and it's going to give the community tools to make their own modules. Like with Neverwinter Nights 2. I made a bunch of my own modules in those back when the games were new. And, it was a lot of fun. Largely, I used it to make myself custom-looking armor for my character, but I also did make a couple of short stories and modules to play through, just for myself. They weren't really professional quality. I was a much younger man then. I might try my hand at making a module in Shadowrun Returns, though. I'm pretty curious to see how the tools work, and to see if I can make anything useful out of it. Anything exciting or fun. And, is it just going to keep giving us... These are all of the people who kickstarted the project, and I want to make sure that they are all appreciated, but there are a lot of them. Like, a ton of people kickstarted this project because they were excited for it. They love Shadowrun, they love the old Shadowrun games. This is still just... see? It's still going. Still going. We're down to the S's now only. T-U-E-W. Oh, are we back around to... what's going on there? Huh. Just keeps going. Are these not the credits? Is it just the same thing over and over again? And then it starts over. Okay, so these aren't the credits. This is just a thank you to everyone who kickstarted the game. And I want to say thank you to those people who kickstarted the game, because otherwise I wouldn't be playing it. I especially want to say also thank you to Harebrained Schemes, Jordan Weissman, especially for heading up this project, a passion project of his, and I think you guys did a good job. And the community, I think, is really going to knock this out of the park. So, until the next game, all the best, and thank you for joining me for Shadowrun Returns.